The first drop hit Elias Granger's hand like warm syrup. He wiped it on his jeans and looked up. The sky was bruised purple, swollen with clouds. Another drop fell, this time on his cheek. Sticky, metallic. Then it began to pour. Not rain, blood. Crimson sheets fell from the sky. Coating the fields, the church roof, the old barn beside it. Livestock shrieked. Children cried. Elias stood still, staring at the heavens as if demanding answers. But all he got was silence. No thunder, no wind, just the impossible sound of blood slapping the earth. And somewhere deep in the hollow, the church bell rang on its own. Eagles Hollow was a town that progress forgot. Nestled between the misty Appalachian folds, it was a place where time moved slower, where land was passed down, not bought, and secrets were buried deeper than any grave. Elias Granger had lived here all his life, inherited the farmhouse from his father, just as his father had before him. People respected Elias. He kept to himself, tilled his land, and still lit a candle for his wife Abigail, who'd passed during childbirth 10 years ago. Animals were born deformed, calves with 2 faces, chickens with twisted beaks. Birds stopped flying over the church. The preacher had grown pale, gaunt. Last month, little Maggie Tiller claimed she saw someone crawling backward across the barn's roof at dusk. Elias didn't believe in stories. Until that night, the night it rained blood. The rain wasn't forecast. No one expected it. The local weatherman even joked about the clear Kentucky sky that morning. By evening, the clouds rolled in like ink, and when the downpour began, no one had a clue where to run. Worse still, every electronic device stopped working. Radios hissed static. Phones died. The air buzzed with something unnatural, as if the land itself had awakened. And somewhere near the heart of town, the church bell rang again, though no one had pulled its rope for years. Elias rushed toward the barn, the closest shelter. Behind him, neighbors screamed and scattered. A pregnant cow collapsed in the pasture, bleeding from its eyes. Blood pooled along the roots of trees like wine in a cracked goblet. Inside the barn, lantern in hand, Elias bolted the door. He wasn't alone. Martha, a schoolteacher, was there. So was old Mr. Carver and 2 teenagers, all wide-eyed, so trembling. "It ain't normal," Martha whispered. "Rain don't smell like iron." Carver sat mumbling verses from the Bible. Elias peered through a knothole in the barn wall. That's when he saw something. The church door, long boarded up, was swinging open, but not pushed by wind. It was as if something inside was pulling. "Stay here," Elias said, grabbing a pitchfork. "You're going out?" Martha cried, "I need answers." He stepped into the blood-soaked earth. With each squelching step toward the church, the air grew colder. There was a low hum now. Inside sat Reverend Coleman, back turned, still in his Sunday robes. Dozens of lit candles surrounded him in a circle, their flames red, not yellow. "Reverend," Elias called out. The man didn't turn. He simply spoke. "It's not blood, Elias. Not exactly. It's what they need to open the gate." "Gate?" "To wait what sleeps beneath the hollow." Elias stepped forward cautiously. "You've lost your mind." Coleman finally turned, and Elias gasped. The preacher's eyes were pitch black, his lips sewn shut with twine. Yet he'd spoken, not with a voice, but from inside Elias' head. "I didn't start it," the voice whispered, "but I finished it. The pact, sealed in 1899. The town has fed the soil for over a century, 1 drop at a time. Now it demands more." Suddenly, the pews began to creak. Elias spun around. Figures emerged, wet, dripping, skinless, silent, featureless, as if the rain had sculpted them from bone and grief. Elias ran. Outside, the rain had thickened. It burned on contact now. His arms blistered as he stumbled back to the barn. "They're coming," he shouted. But Martha pointed behind him. "No, they're already here." The skinless figures, dozens, had surrounded the barn, and at their center stood Reverend Coleman, his mouth still sewn, but his voice booming in all their heads. "Let the hollow be fed." Back inside the barn, Elias began putting pieces together. The cursed rain, the preacher's ritual, the skinless figures, echoes of the town's past, perhaps the original settlers. He suddenly remembered his father's warning when he was a boy. Never dig too deep in the Westfield, Elias. Some things are better left buried. That field, it hadn't grown crops in decades. Soil always strange. Once, Elias found bones there. His father had said they were animal. He believed him. Now he knew better. He turned to Martha. It's not the rain. It's the ground. Something's buried there, and the blood activates it. Old Man Carver snapped out his trance. The covenant. The town founders sacrifice a family to seal it shut. It needs blood to open again. Elias realized the gate wasn't symbolic. It was literal. He had to destroy it. But how? Carver whispered. Fire? Blood seals it. But fire cleanses. This ends tonight. They moved quickly through the crimson mist, torches held high. The rain hissed against the flames, but didn't kill them. When they reached the Westfield, Elias could feel it pulsing beneath his boots. As if the earth was breathing, they spread in a line, lighting the perimeter. Gasoline flared. Flames surged. The field screamed. Yes, screamed, like 1,000 voices crying out from underground. The skinless figures howled and charged. Martha fell, pulled down by 2 of them. Carver stayed behind a defender, pitchforks swinging wildly. Elias reached the field center. There, half submerged, was a stone seal, circular, etched in strange runes, glowing red. Without hesitation, he doused it in gasoline, lit the torch, and slammed it down. The explosion knocked him backward. A column of fire burst from the field. The ground split, releasing a violent wind that tore trees from their roots. The sky above shredded, pulling the blood clouds back upward like smoke reversing. The skinless creatures collapsed into ash. The church bell rang one last time, then cracked in half and fell. And then silence. Real silence. Not the cursed kind. The kind where birds return. Where wind rustles dry leaves. Where breath doesn't hurt. Elias looked up. For the first time in days, the sky was clear. Moral: in the weeks that followed, Eagle's Hollow rebuilt. The rain never returned. The field stayed scorched. Nothing would grow there. Locals started calling it the seal ground. Elias never spoke of the seal again. Neither did Martha or the teens. Carver didn't survive, but his sacrifice had bought them time. Some say evil never truly dies, it sleeps. But Elias knew one truth. It's not what falls from the sky that curses a town. It's what we bury deep and pretend never existed. So when the sky grows too dark and the wind carries whispers to the cornfields, remember Elias Granger's words. Don't look up.